What we're doing today is we're going to make a chicken watering bucket. This is just a 5-gallon bucket, and we're going to put on the bottom of it these poultry nipples. And the way they work, let's put one out, is they seal off like that, and when they peck at it, water driplets come down, and that's how they drink. So you just drill a hole in the bottom of the bucket and you just thread these in there. They'll thread themselves in there. You don't have to tap it or anything like that, or at least in a bucket. So we're gonna do that. This is, I've done several different watering systems. This is definitely probably the easiest and one of the best, in my opinion, because it holds a lot of water. You know, it holds 5 gallons of water, and you don't. These are good about sealing, so they don't leak, and they're not as messy, and the water stays clean. Just, it's a good system. In our big coop, I use these, except I have them actually mounted on PVC with PVC tees that are threaded for these, and so these thread in, and then there's a line going up to the 5-gallon bucket, and then the bucket itself has a float switch in it, and it's hooked up to water, and so the bucket fills, and then the bucket automatically fills, and then it goes down the tube to these. The problem with that is it's a little bit harder to clean. The tube itself is hard to clean, and but it is a nice system. I probably would do that again in spots where I needed or where I had water hookups. Where this one is, and where I've put these before, we don't have water hookups, and so you just have to fill the bucket. And so this works really well, and this bucket will be hung, and so we're gonna need, I don't trust the handle itself to hold 5 gallon, you know, for it to hold all the time with 5 gallons of water in it. And so what I've kind of come up with is taking the handle off, drill through here with a hole for this all thread, and have an all thread go through it all the way, and then we're gonna have to egg this out, round it out to where we can get it slipped over that, and that won't be a problem. We'll take a punch or something and run through and make this widen out where we can slip it over there and put a nut on it. And so that's how this will be attached. We'll attach a chain on each side, and to keep it from squishing in, we're going to put a piece of PVC that fits perfectly in here that the all thread will run through. It'll make more sense once I start on it. So I think what I'm going to do actually is I'll set up the tripod, and y'all can watch how I do this. It's quick and easy, and like I said, I think it makes a good watering system. And then of course you put a lid on the bucket. I drilled just a tiny little hole in the lid. I don't think it would ever seal up tight enough where it would keep the water from coming out, like create a vacuum on it. I don't think it ever would, but just to be safe, I drilled just a tiny little hole, like a 1/16 in the lid, so it can vent. So let's get busy. Alright, so the first thing we're going to go ahead and do, just so we can kind of see what length we need for our PVC and our all thread, is we're going to go ahead and expand these out, and so that they fit over the all thread. So we've got our piece of all thread right here. And of course it doesn't fit. So we take our punch, and we're going to put it over on the vise. now. That's close. If we run this all the way down. I bet that'll fit now. There we go. And if you wanted, if you don't have to do this, you could do like a S hook or something that you could hook on there and then loop it through here, but you know, this doesn't cost me extra. Did not have to buy S hooks to do it. Like I said, I'm just using a punch, tapered punch. There. So that's good. So now we can get our, let me go get our measurements for our PVC and for our all thread. And I need to locate 2 nuts and probably at least 2 flat washers that'll fit on there. Boogered up. It's kind of a dirty piece of all thread. It's got quite a bit of rust and stuff on it. I'll clean this thing up. Come over here to the wheel. Let's see if I can just leave y'all on the tripod. That work? Place y'all back down here. There we go. There we go. Much better. So, I'm just going to use these 2 lock nuts. Don't need lock nuts on here. All I need is something to space it out against the plastic to go between the chain. I don't want the chain digging into the plastic, so we're going to... I found lock nuts easier than I found flat washers. Or I found lock washers easier than I found flat washers. So we're just going to use those. They will serve their purpose. So there's our threaded rod to go in between. Now we need to cut a piece of PVC that'll be an exact fit inside of the bucket. So the PVC will go in here. I'm going to take this. This is just it's electrical. It's for electrical. It's the gray stuff, but it'll work. I use it less than I use the water, and I have more of it. So we're going to use it because I probably won't need it anytime soon. And we're going to cut it just a hair long. So that's a hair long. Yep. And then I'm going to take it over to my grinder over here, and we will work on it till it's an exact fit. keep in mind, we got to keep this thing perfectly round so the lid will snap on. Alright, so got our PVC cut, and it's just going to go in like this. It's cut to where it just barely expands the bucket out, because our rod's going to go through it and it's going to tighten down on it. Plus the weight of the bucket, or the weight of the water and how it's hanging, is going to want to push in on it against the PVC, and so that will should make it be about right. So now we need to drill our holes. We're going to need to take the handle off. And we're going to drill straight through where the handle was. And I need to go get a bit. We're going to make it the size of the all thread. So let me go get, I think this is 3/8. Let me get a bit. Let's see. Let's go one size. Yeah, that's one size over 3/8. It's a 25/64. We're going to use that to drill through it. Position y'all up just a little bit. Get this out, and so we're just going to go straight through here. Done. And then the same thing on this side. Done. So now we can take our all thread and run it through. Need our PVC. And we need our chain. Where did I set the chain? Right here. So this is 2 separate pieces of chain, by the way, with a clip on the end. So we're going to take a lock washer. Like that. And come over to this side. The same thing, we're going to make sure the chain's not twisted. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten this down. It's gonna suck in on this, which is fine. Keep in mind, you know, we've got that PVC in there, so it might suck in because there's nothing right in here. It's gonna suck this little outer portion in, but the inside wall shouldn't move much because that PVC is spacing it out. Looks like a 9/16, I think. That's bigger. Must be like a 5/8. Got a 5/8. Hold one side. And we want our chain up. Run it inside the bucket. That might help keep it up. Probably won't. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. It's just barely sucking in on here. Well, it's sucking in quite a bit. I think that will make for a good hanging bucket. Can y'all see okay? It's hanging. So now, let's get some of our tools out of the way here. This thing over, and we need to install the water nipples. So I set them over here. And we're going to guesstimate what size to drill these holes. We've got to do 4 holes. Say, let's see, here's a 2164, could be bigger than that, 11/32 maybe. Now I'm just looking to see, we want a good tight fit. I'm going to start with that 21/64. Because we can always go bigger. I'm going to start with that. We can't go smaller. I think we're going to put one, let's see. We want a good clean spot. We can get a flat surface right here. And let's see how that fits. That's perfect. Yeah, see, these just kind of thread in by themselves. Just threw them hand tight. There's one. This is not rocket science, so we're just estimating where to put them. 4 holes. Gonna have to push them in to get them started. There's 2. Yeah, and just do these hand tight. I mean, this is not, they're not super strong threads on these, so they seal up easily. One thing I was going to mention on these things will not seal up to water pressure. That's why in the other coop, even though I've got it hooked up to water, it's still gravity fed. You can't just plumb these into a piece of PVC and hook it to a water hose or hook it to a water source, because they will not seal, they will leak. They will only seal with, you know, a non-pressurized, just a gravity feed water system. I even tried using a pressure regulator on them, and it still didn't. They still leaked. All right. And they've got a little O-ring on them that seals up, so that's your seal. So it's done. For water nipples, and on the inside we've got our, and you can use this to carry it too. If you're going to fill it, you've got a little carry handle, and then it will hang by the chain. And like I said, I've got a lid for it, and we will drill a tiny little hole in the lid for a vent. Now, problem is, you know, you need to fill these things with them hanging, because you can't set them now you can't set them flat. So what works pretty good is having 2x4 or 4x4 here and here if you need to over where you're going to fill them, so you can just set that on it and use it to fill it. So I'll go we're gonna go put the lid on it, and I'll show you all the finished product. Drilled just a tiny little hole. I don't know if you can see it through that A, just as a vent, and just hangs like that. And you can height adjust it, you know, by shortening the chain. So it's all the way down right now, and it's just hanging from a board I put between the ceiling rafters with the eye bolt. So easy water setup. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below if you'd like. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks.